Have you ever wondered who God's first son was before the creation of Adam? Who truly occupied the heavenly realms before God decided to make man in his image? Was it Lucifer, the radiant morning star? Was it Azazel, the rebellious watcher? Or was it Beelzebub, the prince of corruption? Who truly held the highest place in the celestial hierarchy before the dawn of humanity? The Bible speaks of the sons of God, beings of divine power who existed long before the creation of the first man. They stood in the great divine council, witnessing the formation of the universe, the shaping of the stars, and the laying of the earth's foundations. Yet, among them, a great secret remained hidden, a mystery that ties the origins of these celestial beings to the rise and fall of Lucifer, the war in heaven, and the eventual descent of the Nephilim upon the earth. What if the battle for dominion did not begin with mankind but with a conflict far older? A war that shaped the destiny of angels, demons, and even the first humans? Before we unveil these ancient truths, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the mind-blowing revelations in this series. Now, let's step into the forbidden history of the firstborn sons of God. Before time as we know it began, before the formation of the heavens and the earth, there existed a realm beyond human comprehension, a place where the Almighty ruled in absolute sovereignty. It was here, in the highest of realms, that he summoned the divine council, the celestial host who stood in his presence. These were not mere creations, but the sons of God, spiritual beings of immense power, wisdom, and authority, entrusted with divine responsibilities over the cosmos. Among them were the archangels, mighty warriors who carried out divine judgments, the seraphim, radiant beings who encircled the throne of the Most High, singing of His holiness, and the watchers, angelic sentinels assigned to oversee the order of creation. As they gathered, the Almighty revealed His decree, "Let us bring forth the foundations of the world. Let us form the heavens and stretch them like a curtain. And upon the void we shall call forth light." With a word, the universe was set into motion. Stars ignited, galaxies took shape, and celestial bodies moved in divine harmony. The sons of God, witnessing this grandeur, shouted for joy, Job 38 verse 7. Yet, hidden within the beauty of creation was a mystery that not even the most exalted among them fully understood. One question remained unspoken among the ranks of the celestial host. What purpose did this new creation serve? Long before Adam was ever formed from the dust of the earth, the planet was teeming with life. It was a world of unimaginable beauty, inhabited by powerful beings who walked in the splendor of creation. These were not mere mortals, but pre-adamic beings, the first sentient creatures given dominion over the newly formed earth. The sons of God, watching over this age, took great delight in guiding these ancient civilizations. They taught them wisdom, order, and the mysteries of the cosmos. Under the stewardship of the divine council, the pre-Adamic world flourished with unparalleled knowledge and supernatural advancements. Towering cities, crafted with precision beyond human capability, stood as monuments to this golden age. Yet, not all of the celestial host remained loyal to the Almighty's divine order. Among them was a being of unmatched brilliance, Lucifer, the anointed cherub, adorned with stones of fire. But pride, that ancient poison, had taken root in his heart. He began to question the authority of the Most High, whispering his rebellious thoughts to others. A great division formed among the sons of God. Some remained steadfast in their loyalty, while others, captivated by Lucifer's defiance, began to entertain the thought of rebellion. This fracture in the heavens was the first sign of the coming war that would shake the very foundation of creation. The first age of the earth had witnessed beauty and order, but it would soon be engulfed in a conflict that would alter existence itself. Lucifer, with his silver tongue and boundless ambition, had swayed a third of the angelic host. They believed his words, that they, as divine beings, should not serve but rule. Why should we be bound by his decrees? Lucifer's voice echoed across the celestial halls. Are we not sons of God? Do we not possess the light of divinity within us? Let us cast off our chains and take the throne that is rightfully ours. The heavens trembled as war erupted. The loyal angels, led by Michael the archangel, clashed against the rebellious host. Blades of celestial fire clashed, and the firmament shook with the cries of battle. The once magnificent Lucifer had transformed into Satan, the adversary, his radiance twisted into darkness. The battle raged until the decree of the Almighty was spoken. With a single word, Satan and his followers were cast down. Like falling stars, they descended in fury, banished from the divine presence. But their exile was not an end, it was only the beginning of their vengeance. As they fell, the earth itself bore witness to their descent. The once harmonious pre-Adamic world became a battlefield, and its inhabitants, those first beings of creation, stood at the crossroads of an unfolding cosmic war. And so, the stage was set for an age of chaos. With the fallen ones banished from the heavens, the earth became their new dominion. No longer radiant with the light of their Creator, they became rulers of shadows, whisperers of forbidden knowledge. They corrupted the pre-Adamic civilizations, teaching them secrets meant only for the divine. Under their influence, the world that was once pure became a kingdom of darkness. Bloodshed, sorcery, and oppression spread across the land. The sons of God who remained loyal watched in sorrow as the first age of the earth was tainted by rebellion. But the Most High would not allow corruption to reign unchallenged. A decree was given, one that would shake the very foundations of existence. The world that had been corrupted must be destroyed. And so, an event of cataclysmic proportions unfolded. The earth trembled as the waters of the deep surged forth. Fire rained from the heavens. The continents were torn apart. Cities, once filled with the glory of divine wisdom, crumbled into ruin. The great civilizations of the pre-Adamic age were no more. The rebellious fallen ones, stripped of their former splendor, were bound in the prison of the abyss, locked away until the appointed time of judgment. But something remained. A remnant of the fallen ones, those who had not been imprisoned, still roamed the earth, waiting for another opportunity to rise. The first world had been cleansed, but the battle was far from over. I've restored and expanded the first chapters, making them longer, clearer, and more suspenseful while keeping everything in order. Though the Nephilim had been struck down, their influence did not perish with them. Those who survived scattered across the land, their knowledge and power passed down through generations. The fallen ones, though stripped of their celestial glory, whispered secrets into the ears of kings and warlords. And thus, the rebellious kingdoms were born. The earth trembled as mighty cities rose, built upon the bones of ancient knowledge. Structures of impossible size and complexity stood as monuments to the power of the Nephilim's descendants. Their influence had not faded, it had only taken new form. In these cities, dark rituals were performed, blood was spilled in their honor, and mankind was bound to their will through pacts of power. But the Almighty had not turned his eyes away. He watched as mankind fell deeper into corruption, as they fashioned idols from the remnants of a forbidden past. He watched as they named the fallen ones their gods and built temples to honor them. And he knew that judgment was near. Yet, amidst the darkness, there was hope. A remnant of mankind still clung to the light. They called upon the true name of the Most High, resisting the temptations of the fallen ones. And among them, the Almighty would soon raise a prophet who would defy the might of the rebellious kingdoms. As the world descended into chaos, a man walked in the presence of the Almighty. His name was Enoch, and he was unlike any before him. From birth, he had been marked with wisdom beyond human understanding. He saw the corruption of the world and the deceit of the fallen ones. He knew that the Nephilim still held dominion in secret, and he knew that their judgment was at hand. Enoch did not fear them. Instead, he walked among them, proclaiming the truth of the Almighty. He spoke of their coming destruction, of the wrath that would fall upon them. He warned the kings who bowed to the fallen ones, but they mocked him, calling him a madman. But Enoch was no ordinary man. The Almighty had chosen him for a purpose greater than any before. One night, as he gazed upon the heavens, he was taken, not by death, nor by force, but by divine will. He ascended into the celestial realm, where the Almighty revealed to him the hidden truths of creation. He saw the divine council, the hosts of heaven, and the decrees that had been made against the rebellious ones. He saw the judgment written against the fallen ones, and he knew that their time was running out. When Enoch returned to the earth, his words carried a power that none could deny. Kings trembled before him, and the fallen ones raged. But they could not touch him, for the Almighty had placed his hand upon him. And so, Enoch walked with God until the day he was taken from the earth, never to be seen again. The warnings of Enoch had shaken the earth, but the Nephilim would not surrender. They saw the floodgates of judgment opening, and in their desperation, they sought to defy fate itself. Through their dark arts, they sought to preserve themselves. Some fled to the highest mountains, believing they could escape the waters that would soon cover the land. Others sought refuge beneath the earth, in great caverns where they hoped to outlast the storm. And a few, the most cunning, turned to deception, taking on forms that would allow them to move unseen among mankind. But the Almighty had spoken. The flood was coming, and nothing could stand against his decree. As the sky darkened and the first drops of rain began to fall, the Nephilim gathered for one final act of defiance. They raised their weapons against the heavens, screaming their hatred toward the Most High. They believed that their strength could challenge the will of God. But when the waters came, they swallowed everything. Cities vanished beneath the waves, mountains crumbled, and the once mighty Nephilim were no more. Yet, even in destruction, a shadow lingered. The fallen ones had not perished. Their spirits, cursed and restless, would continue to roam the earth, seeking vengeance against mankind. And so, the world was cleansed. But the war was not over. The echoes of divine rebellion had not been silenced. They merely slumbered beneath the fabric of time, waiting for a moment to reawaken. As humanity spread across the earth, so too did the influence of the fallen ones. Their exile had not stripped them of their cunning, nor had it erased their desire to corrupt the Creator's new design. In the days of Noah, when men had multiplied upon the earth, something strange began to unfold. The Watchers, a group of angelic beings assigned to observe and guide humanity, became enamored with the daughters of men. Their beauty stirred a forbidden longing within them. These beings, meant to uphold divine order, found themselves ensnared by desires they were never meant to entertain. One by one they made their choice. At the urging of their leader, Azazel, the Watchers conspired to descend upon the earth, taking for themselves human wives. It was an act of ultimate defiance, a direct violation of the celestial laws. As they bound themselves to their decision with an oath, they sealed their fates. What followed was something the world had never seen before. The unions between these fallen angels and human women produced offspring of staggering size and unnatural strength, the Nephilim. They were giants, towering over mankind, their presence a mark of the corruption that had seeped into creation. With their great size came insatiable appetites, both for power and for flesh. They consumed everything in their path, and when the earth could no longer sustain them, they turned on men, devouring their own kind. But the Watchers had not only taken wives, they had also imparted forbidden knowledge to their descendants. They taught men the art of war, the secrets of the stars, the crafting of weapons, and the use of sorcery. Mankind, once innocent, became ensnared in the darkness of these newfound teachings. The world was filled with bloodshed, corruption, and chaos. Yet, there were whispers of a coming reckoning. The Most High had seen what had transpired, and his judgment was at hand. In the midst of growing corruption, there was a man who walked a different path, a man who refused to bow to the darkness that had consumed the world. His name was Enoch, and he was unlike any other. While men sought power and destruction, Enoch sought the face of the Almighty. He walked in righteousness, untainted by the sins of the fallen. And because of this, God spoke to him, revealing mysteries that no other man had been granted to see. One night, as Enoch prayed beneath the vast heavens, a great light descended upon him. It was neither the sun nor the moon but something otherworldly, a radiant brilliance that filled the air with the presence of the divine. And in that light stood an angel, a messenger from the Most High. Enoch, son of Jared, the angel spoke, "The Almighty has seen your faithfulness, and he calls you into his presence. Fear not, for you have been chosen to deliver his message." In an instant, Enoch was caught up into the heavenly realms, where he beheld wonders beyond human comprehension. He stood before the throne of the Most High, surrounded by the blazing fire of the seraphim. And there, God revealed to him the fate of the watchers and their offspring. "Go," the Almighty commanded, "and speak my judgment to the fallen ones. Tell them that their rule is ended and their destruction is sealed. The floodwaters will rise, and the giants they have begotten shall perish. Their spirits shall wander the earth, but they shall never find rest." With divine authority, Enoch returned to the earth and delivered his message. He traveled across the land, warning the watchers of their impending doom. He spoke of a flood that would cleanse the world, wiping away the corruption they had brought. But the fallen ones did not heed his words. Instead, they raged against the decree of the Most High, believing they could alter their fate. The Nephilim, sensing the coming wrath, prepared for war. If the heavens wished to erase them, they would not go quietly. They would fight against the divine decree, defying God himself. And so, the earth trembled, as the greatest battle of the ancient world loomed on the horizon. The Nephilim, towering above mortal men, gathered in vast armies, their monstrous forms casting shadows upon the land. They had been raised to believe they were invincible, their blood divine, their might unparalleled. And so, when whispers of a coming flood reached their ears, they did not flee in fear. Instead, they prepared for war against heaven itself. The sons of the Watchers, emboldened by their unnatural strength, set their sights on the mountains of the gods, where they believed the celestial gates could be breached. If the heavens sought to destroy them, they would storm the gates of the Almighty and tear them down with their own hands. They crafted weapons of incredible power, taught by their fallen fathers. Swords forged in the fires of forbidden knowledge, armor imbued with enchantments stolen from the heavens. They drank the blood of beasts, fortifying themselves for what they believed would be their ultimate victory. But the Most High had already decreed their end. Before they could march upon the heavens, the signs of judgment began. The earth quaked, splitting the ground beneath their feet. The sky darkened, blotting out the light of the sun. The rivers turned to torrents, rushing beyond their bounds. The Nephilim, for the first time in their existence, felt fear. And then the rain began. It was no ordinary rain. The heavens opened, unleashing torrents of water unlike anything the world had ever seen. The foundations of the deep erupted, spewing forth great floods that swallowed entire cities. The mighty warriors, who had once looked upon mankind as insects, now found themselves powerless against the fury of nature. The Nephilim fought against the rising waters, their roars of defiance echoing through the storm. They climbed mountains only for the waves to pursue them. They tried to outrun the flood, but there was nowhere left to hide. One by one, the giants fell beneath the weight of divine judgment. And when the last of them had perished, the world was silent. The Watchers who had once walked among men as gods, now faced their final sentence. Chains of darkness awaited them, their punishment set until the day of the final judgment. They had corrupted creation, and for their crimes, they would be bound in the abyss, never to walk free again. But though the Nephilim had been wiped from the earth, their spirits remained. No longer bound by flesh, they wandered the world as disembodied entities, forever seeking a new host, a new way to manifest their ancient rebellion. And so, though the flood had cleansed the world, the battle was not over. For in the shadows, the spirits of the giants still whispered. The story of the sons of God before Adam reveals a deep truth: power, knowledge, and divine favor mean nothing without obedience to God. Lucifer was once glorious, but pride cast him down. The Watchers were entrusted with guiding humanity, yet their rebellion led to the corruption of the world. The Nephilim were mighty, yet they perished under divine judgment. This serves as a warning to us all: no matter how great one's position, strength, or wisdom, without submission to God, downfall is inevitable. But there's hope. Even in a world influenced by ancient rebellion, God's mercy remains open to those who seek Him. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, You are the Alpha and Omega, the one who was, who is, and who is to come. Just as You revealed Your power in ancient times, reveal Yourself to us today. Protect us from pride and rebellion, and give us hearts that seek after You. Let us walk in obedience, wisdom, and righteousness, so that we may not fall into the same errors as those before us. May your light guide us in this dark world, and may your truth set us free. In Jesus' name, Amen. If this lesson has blessed you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you don't miss our next deep revelation. Stay blessed.